Hello and welcome to part 2 of answering every question in the book, where I am currently working through every question in my upcoming book, Functional Skills Maths Level 2, in order to make sure that everything is in perfect condition for having it printed out. Oh, what's that? So sorry. Just having a malfunction here with sound. Oh no. One second. Sorry. Just sound check. Right, there we go. Right, and that's the sound check all done. So, thank you very much for joining me on this. And yeah, let's get started. Okay, so last lesson we got up to, on the last day, yesterday even, I got up to topic 10. So today we're going to be starting off with topic 11. So here we go. Here is topic 11. And yes, I'm actually going to get out the calculator for these because largely with functional skills maths, we are allowed a calculator. And so I'm just going to use this as an opportunity to get some more calculator practice. So here we go. What is 20% of 80? So to find 20% of 80, we do 20. Well, we do 20 divided by 100, which equals 0.2. And then we can do 0.2 times 80. And let's find out what that is. Here we go. So 0.2 times 80. And that equals 16. Okay, right, so that equals 16. Let's try the next one. Next one, 15% of 200. So we do 15 divided by 100, which equals 0.15. And then we can do 0.15 times 200, which I can do on the calculator. 0.15 times 200. So that will equal 30. Next one, calculate 3% of 150. So we've got 3 divided by 100 equals 0.03. 0.03 times 150. Let's do that here. And that's 4.5. Okay. Next, we've got 10% of 500. Well, I know that to find 10%, we can do 500 divided by 10 equals 50. Okay, so therefore 10% will be 50, because always to find 10%, we divide by 10. Next here, we've got find 25% of 120. So again, I'm just going to do 25 divided by 100 equals 0.25. And then 0.25 times 120. And we'll do that on the calculator. So here we go. 0.25 times 120 equals 30. Okay, right. So, as I said, I'm doing this in order to check that everything's correct in the book. So I'm going to switch over now to the answers. And then we will mark this stuff over here. Ooh, so that's me. Here we go. Here's the answers. Let's get this, and let's just move this to the side. And let's get the Right, 1 second. There we go. Right, I need to get my system back and running. Okay, so first one is 16. Yep, that agrees. The second one is 30. That agrees as well. 4.5 also agrees. 50 agrees as well. Let me just enlarge these a little bit so you... Here we go. 4 is 50. And 5 is 30. Okay, great. Let's try the next one. So here we go. On this one, in fact, let's go back here and let's enlarge this. Right, so for this one here, what we've got is we've got the first one here, which is calculate 7.6% of 2,500. So let's keep the color scheme as well. 7.6 divided by 100 equals 0.076. 0.076 multiplied by 2,500. That's a job for the calculator. So there we go, so that's 190. The next one we've got here is we've got 1.25 divided by 100 equals 0.0125. 0.0125 times 400. Let's find that. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. So we've got 0.35 divided by 100 equals 0.0035. And then we'll have 0.0035 times 6,000. And we'll do that on the calculator. And that is 21. Okay. Next one, we've got calculate 4.8% of 150. So we've got 4.8 divided by 150. No. 4.8 divided by 100. And that'll equal 0.048. And then 0.048 multiplied by 150 equals, let's try this out, 72, 7.2, and then okie dokie, right, so let's check these out as the answers. So here we go. Right, so let's get that there. Here we go. So question 6 was 190. Yep, we agree. 7 was 5. 8 was 21. 9 is 7.2. And 10 is 230. Okay, right. Sorry, just opening the windows, it is getting pretty hot. Right, so let's continue on to 11 with the scenario questions, okay? And now with these, I've got to make sure I remember to read them out loud. Okay, so let's try here first. And it says, the first one, a store is offering a 20% discount on a £50 item. How much will the item cost after the discount? Okay, great. So we're going to do 20 divide 100 equals 0.2. 0.2 times 50 equals 0.2 times 50. So that equals 10. Okay, so the discount is £10. So how much will the item cost after the discount? Well, that's going to be £50. Take away £10, which will equal £40. Okay, and let me get rid of those lines there because that makes it look like the answer. So there we go, that's the first one done, £40. Let's have a look at this next one, and it says, in a class of 40 students, 25% of them are absent. How many students are absent? So 25% are absent, so we need to find 25% of 40. So we'll do 25 divided by 100 equals 0.25. 0.25 times 40 will give us 25% of 40. So 0.25 times 40 equals 10. There we go. So how many students are absent? 10 students. Okay, question 3. We've got here, a company sold 80% of its inventory during a sale. If the total inventory was 500 items, how many items were sold? Okay, so 80% of its inventory was sold during the sale. If the total inventory was 500, how many were sold? So we want 80% of 500. So again, we'll just do 80 divided by 100 equals 0.8. And then 0.8 times 500 will give us 80% of 500. So let's work out what this is. 0.8 times 500, which is 400. So there was 400 items. Let's just put that there. 400 items were sold. Right, question 4. We have here, a restaurant received a tip of 15% on a £100 bill. How much was the tip? Okay, so that is a case of finding 15% of £100. So we do 15 divided by 100, which equals 0.15. Now anything we times by 0.15 will give us 15%. So we'll do 0.15 times the £100, and that equals 15 again. So the tip was £15. Okay, question 5. And here we go. It says, in a survey, 60% of the participants preferred option A. If there were 200 participants, how many preferred option A? Okay, so we want 60% of 200. So we're going to do 60 divided by 100 equals 0.6. 0.6 multiplied by 200. Let's find out what that is. 0.6 times 200. I think it'll be 120. Yeah, equals 120. So if 60% of the participants preferred option A, 60% of 200 is 120. So the answer is 120 participants preferred option A. Okay, so let's now get this marked. So I can go up here. And let's move that back over here. Here we go, we've got the mark scheme. Well, we've got the answers that I got earlier, so we're checking if they're correct by just double checking them. So here we go. Number 1 says £40. Number 2 says 10 students. I'm reading it just over here. Number 3 says 400 items. Yep. Number 4 says £15. And number 5 says 120 participants. Yes, okay, great. So that is all very good. So let's move on to questions 6 to 10. So here we go. Right, question 6. A company increased its prices by 6.25%. If the original price of an item was £80, what is the new price? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a different method here this time. So we're increasing it by 6.25%. So we've got 100%, and we're adding on 6.25%, and that's going to give us 106.25%. So what we're looking for in this one is we're looking for 106.25%. So if I do 106.25 divided by 100, That equals 1.0625. And then we need to do 1.0625 multiplied by 80. And that will equal and that'll equal 85. Oh, that's a 5. And that's an 8. There we go. So the new price is £85. Right, question 7. A charity received a donation of £500. The charity then claimed 25% gift aid on the donation. What was the total amount raised? Okay, so I'm going to do this a different way again. I'm just going to find 25% and add it on. So we want 25%. Okay, so if we do 25% divided by 100, that equals 0.25. Then if I do 500 times by 0.25, that will tell us what 25% of 500 is. So 500 times 0.25. So that equals £125. So that's how much gift aid there was. So what was the total amount raised? So that means the original amount and the gift aid. So we've got £500 plus the 125, and that's going to be 625. So there we go. The answer for that is £625. Okay, right. Question 8. In a marathon, a runner completed 42.5% of the race. If the total race was 42 kilometres, how much did the runner complete? Okay, so we want 42.5% of 42. So we're going to do 42.5 divided by 100. Okay, and that will give us 0.425. And then we'll do 0.425 multiplied by the amount. So that's 42. And that equals, let's find out, 0.425 multiplied by 42. And that equals 17.85 kilometres. So that would be our answer for that question. Right, let's have a look at question 9. So here we go. We've got a store is offering a 1.5 cashback on purchases. If a customer spends £200, how much cashback will they receive? So we want 1.5% of 200. So we'll do 1.5 divided by 100, which equals 0.015. And then if we multiply by 0.015, that gives us 1.5%. So 200 times 0.015. Let's find out what this equals. And that equals 3. So there I've got £3 back. Okay, so let's have a look at question 10. Question 10 says, in a test, a student scored 92.5% and received a grade A. Received a grade of A. Okay, that's fine. If the maximum score was 120, what was the student's score? Okay, so they got 92.5% of 120. So let's find out what 92.5% of 120 is. So we do 92.5 divided by 100, which gives us 0.925. And then we'll do 0.925 multiplied by 120. And let's find out what that is. 0.9. 111. Okay, so that's how many marks they got. Right, let's now find out how many marks we've got. Okay, so let's shrink this over here and then go here. So this was 11 and this was the scenario questions of the part 2. So let's see. So £85, we agree, excellent. £625 agrees as well. 117.85 km agrees. The £3 agrees. And the 111 Marks agrees. They've said points, but that doesn't really matter. I've said points. Right, so let's continue with this. Topic 12. Oh my gosh. Right. So here we go. Topic 12 is here. And it says, write a number as a percentage of another. And here's the practice questions. And it says, write 20 as a percentage of 50. So this is going to be 20 out of 50. Okay, so in order to convert this, to convert a fraction into a percentage, you just do the top divided by the bottom and multiply it by 100. So I'll just write times 100 there because this line here means divide anyway. So let's do that on the calculator. So we'll do 20 divided by 50 equals 0.4, and then times that by 100 to turn it into a percentage. So that will be 40%. Oh, let me do that in black, not to confuse it. Okay, there we go. Same thing again with this. So we've got 75 over 150, and then we're going to multiply that by 100. So 75 divided by 150 equals 0.5 times 100 equals 50. So that's 50%. Okay. Next one, we've got 40 out of 80 times 100. Okay, so again, we've got 40 over means divide, divided by 80. Always press equals here to find out what that is. Then times that by 100, and that equals 50. You might start being able to skip the times by 100 on the calculator, but it's up to you what you do. I'm trying to be extra careful today, so I'm continuing to use the calculator, just because it's not worth the risk. That equals 15%. And then here we've got 3 out of 25 times 100. And let's do that here. 3 divided by 25 equals this times 100 is 12. So that's 12%. Here. Okay, great. Let's get these marked. Okay, so right, we've got, where are we? 12 practice, it's these ones here. So 40%, yes. 50%, yes. 50%, yes. 15%, yes. And 12%. Excellent, the book is looking good. Right, let's go on to the next part. So, here we go. Practice questions here, question 6. So we've got 50 out of 200, okay, times 100. Okay, let's work this one out. Here we go, so we've got 50 divided by 200, that's what that line means, equals this, times 100, and that would be 25%. Okie dokie. Next one, we've got 8 out of 64 times 100. Okay, so 8 divided by 64. Oh no, that's gone wrong. 8 divided by 64 equals this, times 100 equals 12.5. Brilliant. Okay. Next, we've got 20 out of 2,000. And then I'm going to times that by 100. So let me do that over here. So 20 divided by 2,000 equals this, times 100 equals 1. So 20 is 1% of 2,000. Right, question 9. Write 7 as a percentage of 35. So we've got 7 out of 35. multiplied by 100. So here we go. 7 divided by 35 equals 0.2, and then times 100 equals 20. And that's percent. So 7 is 20% of 35. Right, here we've got, I lost my little calculator. Right, here let's do this one. We've got 12 as a percentage of 60, so we've got 12 out of 60 times 100. So we can work this one out. So we've got 12 divided by 60 equals this, and times 100 equals 20%. Okay, great. Right, let's get this marked. Okay, so red pen. Here we go. 6 is 25%. That agrees. 7 is 12.5%. That agrees. 8 is 1%. That agrees. 9 is 20%. That agrees. And 10 is 20%. That also agrees. Excellent. Oh, okay. This is such a relief. Okay, right, let's go back to here, and then we'll go to large again. Right, so here we go. We've got the scenario questions this time, so I need to make sure I read them out loud so that they make sense. So here we go. Let's do the title first. Write a number as a percentage of another. Scenario questions, round answers up to 1 decimal place. Okay, and then here we go. Question 1. In a class of 40 students, 10 students are boys. What percentage of the class is boys? Is boys? Are boys? I think it's are, isn't it? What percentage of the class is boys? So that should be are. Okay, right, that's always nice to pick something up. So I'm just going to quickly go over to that page. So 1 second, let's just double check what page that is. So it's 12, isn't it? Topic 12. Right, what's it? 11. Here we go. Which percentage of the class are boys? Okay, great. Sorry about that. This will just happen from time to time. Let me get the remarkable. Oh no. Screen share. Oh no, well, that's what I want. I just want the screen share. Okay, so I'll just make a note here to say that that's been done. Format. Okay, and then let's continue on with the question. So, 10 of the students are boys, so it's 10 out of 40 are boys. So we've got 10 out of 40 times 100, and we can find out what this is equal to. So 10 divided by 40 equals 0.25. And then we times that by 100, that'll be 25%. Okay, question 2. It says a store initially had 500 items in stock. After a sale, only 200 items remained. What percentage of the items were sold? Right, so first of all, let's work out how many items were sold. So we've got 500 take away 200. Gives us 300. So 3 items were sold. So that's 300 items out of 500 items. Times that by 100, and that will give us the percentage that was sold. So let's have a look at that. So we've got here 300 divided by 500 equals 0.6 times by 100 equals 60%. So 60% was sold. Okay. Question 3. Out of 80 questions on a test, Bianca answered 64 correctly. What percentage of the questions did she answer correctly? Well, she answered 64 out of 80. So if we times this by 100, that will give us the percentage. So we've got 64 divided by 80 equals this, and then times 100 is 80%. She did really well. Well done, Bianca. Right. Oh, I've stopped my double lining thing. I always tell people to double line their answers to make it obvious for me to mark it. But I'm not doing it myself. Right. Question 4. A company has 110 employees and 20 of them were promoted. What percentage of the employees received a promotion? Okay, that sounds good to me. So we had 20 out of 110. Times that by 100, and that will give us the percentage. So 20 divided by 110 equals this. Times it by 100 equals this. And it said in the question for 1 decimal place where required. So we'll say that this is going to be, well, this equals 118.18. I'll write this first just in case I don't round it correctly, but I am going to round it correctly. So this is going to be 18.2% to 1 decimal place. Okay, and let's do that. So that was 18.2% of the employees got a promotion. Okay, right. In a survey, 75 out of 125 people said they prefer coffee over tea. What percentage of the people prefer coffee? Okay, so that is 75 out of 125 multiplied by 100. So let's work this one out. So we've got here 75 divided by 125 equals this. And then we'll times that by 100. And so that equals 60%. Okay, let's do some marking. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going to make this back to the side again. Now, where are my answers? So here we go. Right, let's go back to the top. So we've got here 25%. That's not the right one. It's this one here. Ah, good. Right. So we're doing question 12 scenario. So 25%, tick. 60%, yep, we agree there. 80%, yep, agree there as well. 18.2%, agree with that one. And 60%, agree with that one there. Okay. Next page. Right, so here we go. Topic 12, again, the second half of the scenario ones. A pizza has 8 slices. A pizza has 8 slices and John ate 3 slices. What percentage of the pizza did John eat? I think that's fine. Do you think it should be had? Keep it all in the past tense. A pizza had 8 slices and John ate 3 slices. A pizza has 8 slices and John eats 3 slices. Yeah, the tense needs to be the same. A pizza has 8 slices and John eats 3 of them. That makes more sense. So let's go to the, here we go. A pizza has 8 slices and John eats 3. Oh no, right. There we go. A pizza has 8 slices and John eats 3 of them. Okay, I'll just make a note, format. Okay. So here we go. And then what we've got here is what percentage of pizza did John eat? So he had 3 out of the 8 slices. So if we times that by 100, that will give us the percentage. Okay, so we've got 3 divided by 8 equals 0.375. Then we times that by 100. That equals 37.5%. Okay, so John ate 35.7% of the pizza. 37.5% of the pizza. Question 7. A car travelled 400 miles on day 1 and 85 on day 2. What percentage of the journey did he complete on day 1? I think I need to put miles there. A car travelled 400 miles on day 1 and 85 miles on day 2. What percentage of the journey did he complete on day 1? Right, let's go back to this. Okay, so first of all, we need to add both of those together to find out the total trip. So if we do 400, add 85, that equals 485. Okay, now, let's not underline it. Now, he did 400 miles of the 485 miles on day 1. So that's what we want to find as the percentage. So we're going to do 400 divided by 485 here and times this by 100. And so that's going to be 82.47, which we will round to 82.5%. Okay, so on day 1, he did 82.5%. Right, let's try question 8. A recipe calls for 2 cups of flour, but you only have 1 cup. What percentage of the required flour do you have? Okay, so we have 1 out of 2 cups, and we times that by 100. That will give us the percentage. You might know this, it's going to be 50%, because 1 divided by 2 is a half, and a half times 100 is 50%. So you have 50% of the flour. Right, question 9. A company's revenue was £10,000 last year, and it increased to £12,000 this year. What was the percentage increase in the revenue? Okay, so the percentage increase is how much it increased out of the amount it increased from. So first of all, we do 12,000, take away 10,000, which equals 2,000. Okay, and so we've got an increase of 2,000 out of a potential 10,000, and then we times that by 100, and that will give us the percentage increase. So that gives us 2,000 divided by 10,000, and that equals 0.2. And then we times that by 100, that will equal 20%. Great, okay. Let's have a look at question 10. So question 10 says, a student scored 80 out of 92 on a test. What percentage did the student score? Okay, so what we get here is we've got 80 out of 92, and then we're going to multiply this by 100 and find out what that gives. Okay, so here we go. 80 divided by 92 equals this, times it by 100. There we go, so that's 86.956 ... But they want it to 1 decimal place, which would, it's rounding up here, so that 5 makes this a 10. Okay, so actually that 10 then makes this a 7. So this is going to be 87.0%. Now I put the 0.0 in because it's been rounded to 1 decimal place, and putting the 0.0 shows that this has been rounded to 1 decimal place. Right, let's get this marked. Okay, change to red. 12 scenario, here we are. 37.5, yep, that agrees. 82.5, yep, we're in agreement again. 50%, yeah, we agree here. 20%, we agree here. And 87.0%, we agree here as well. Okay, wonderful. Right, next topic. So here we go, calculating percentage change. Okay, so here we go. Let's enlarge this. Okay, so what is the percentage change? What is the percentage increase from 50 to 60? Okay, so it's increased 10 from the original amount of the 50. Then we times that by 100. So 10 divided by 50 times 100. 20%. Okay, we've decreased by, I can see that this is a decrease of 12, okay, and we decreased from the 80, so we've done 12 out of 80 times 100. Okay, so here we go. I'll just make a note that this was an increase, this was a decrease, and I'll just underline as well. Right. Question 3. What is the percentage increase from 120 to 150? Okay, so that's, I can see that's an increase of 30, and it's gone from the 20. Question 4. What is the percentage decrease from 200 to 180? So it's gone from the 200 and it's gone down by 20. So 20 out of 200 times 100 equals this. So 20 divide 200 is this times 100. 10%. Okay, question 5. What is the percentage increase from 75 to 97.5%? So I can see, you know what, I'm just going to work this increase out. So let's just do 97.5, take away 75, 22.5. So we've gone up 22.5. We've increased from the 75. So times this by 100. So here we go. We've got 22.5 divided by 75 equals 0.3. Oh, that's nice. Times 100. There we go. So that equals 30%. And that's an increase. Increase. Let's just make a note here. That was a decrease. Okay. And then that was an increase as well. And I'm ready to mark. So let's get ready to mark. Here we go. Oh, I didn't need the increase or decrease either way. Okay, right. So 20%, 15%, yep. 25%, yep. 10%, yep. And 30%. Excellent. Okay. Next round on here. Oh, and then we've done that other page of answers. We've finished that page of answers. That would be nice. Right. Okay, so. Okay, that is a decrease of 20 out of 400. And then we'll times that by 100. And that will give us the percentage. So here we go. We've got 20 divided by 400 equals that times 100. 5%. Okay. Question 7. We've got an increase from 60 to 90. So what is the percentage increase from 60 to 90? So that is 30 out of 60 times 100. And I know that 30 is half of 60. So that's going to be 50%. Okay. Let's have a look at this one here. What is the percentage decrease from 150 to 132? So 150 is 18 more than 132. So it's going to be 18, and then it's decreased from the 150. So it's 18 out of 150, then times 100. And let's find out what that equals to. So we're going to have 18 divided by 150 equals 12, and then times that by 100. There we go, 12%. Let's remember to underline our answers to make it nice and clear. Here we go. Now we've got question 9. Oh, on page 55. Okay, right. What is the percentage increase from 90 to 121.5? Let's just do 121.5 minus 90 to find the increase. So that's an increase of 31.5, and it started at 90, and so we're going to times that by 100 to get the percentage. So 31.5 divided by 90 equals 35%. Well, because when I times that by 100, that's what it'll be. Okay, right. What is a percentage decrease from 250 to 230? So we've dropped down 20, okay, because 250 take away 20 is 230. And we drop from the 250, so it's 20 out of 250. And then we're going to multiply that by 100. Okay, so let's write that down. So we have 20 divided by 250 equals 0.9 times 100, and that equals, wow, that's really low. 1 second, I've done something wrong. No, this isn't right, is it? Let me do that again. 20 divided by 250 equals 0.08, and then times that by 100, 8. So that was an 8% decrease. Okay. Right, let's mark that and find out if my answer scheme agrees. So here we go. 6 was 5%, brilliant. 7 was 50%, yep. 8 was 12%. 9 was 35%. And 10 was 8%. Excellent. Right, that's nice. Scenario questions, but a new page of answers, which feels like an achievement. Okay, so here we go. Let's get this up here. Okay, so next thing here, let me read these out to make sure that they make sense. Just to get some water. So, calculate percentage change, scenario questions. Question 1. A shirt originally priced at £40 is now on sale for £32. What is the percentage decrease in the price? In price? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so we've got, that's a decrease of 8 from a price of 40. Then we're going to times that by 100 to see what the answer is. Okay, so 8 divided by 40 equals 0.2 times 100 equals 20. Question 2. The population of a town increased from 10,000 to 12,000. What is this percentage increase in population? What is the percentage increase in population? So we're going to have 2,000 out of 10,000, and then we're going to multiply that by 100, and let's have a look. So 2,000 divided by 10,000, yeah, and then multiply that by, it's 20%. That's nice. 2 lots of 20%. Okay, question 3. The price of stock increased from £50 to £60. What is the percentage increase in price? So we've gone up an increase, I can see that's an increase of £10, and that's increased from £50, and then we're going to times that by 100 to turn that into the percentage. So we do 10 divided by 50 equals 0.2. That looks like 20% again. There we go. 20%. Right. A car's fuel efficiency improved, oh nice, from 25 miles per gallon to 30 miles per gallon. What? I think that would be really bad. Would that be bad? I think that would be really bad. A gallon's like 8 litres. So if it was like 25 miles per gallon, that would be like 25 miles for every 8 litres. That'd be like 8 pounds of fuel. Actually, maybe, I don't know. Right, I'm getting sidetracked. What is the percentage increase in fuel efficiency? Okay, so it's an increase of 5, and it went from the 25. So we've got 5 over 25, and we're going to multiply that by 100. So here we go, we've got 5 divided by 25, and that equals 0.2. And then that's going to be 20% again. Okay, so that equals 20%. Okay, right. And lastly, let's have a look at this question here, question 5. The temperature dropped from 80 degrees Fahrenheit to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. What is the percentage decrease in temperature? Right, so 80 to 60, that's a decrease of 20. And it dropped from the 80. So then I'm looking for 20 out of 80 as a percentage. So I'm going to times that by 100. So here we go, 20 divided by 80. Aha, we've got a different one this time. That's nice. Okay, 25%. Okay, right. Let's mark these and double check. Okay, so here we go. Oh, no, these are good. So 20% for 1, 20% for 2, 20% for 3, 20% for 4, 25% for 5. Wonderful. Right, second step. So here we go. We've got here, a company's revenue decreased from £1 million to £800,000. What is the percentage decrease in revenue? Okay, so this is a little bit of a tricky one. So it requires you to know that £1 million is 1 and 6 zeros. Okay, so we've got that there. So I can see, well, let me just do this anyway. So this is going to be a £200,000 decrease, but we can work it out. So that's 1 million. Take away 800,000. And there we go. That equals 200,000. So this will be 200,000 out of 800,000. No, it decreased from the million. So 200,000 out of the 1 million. And then we're going to times that by 100. I'm actually going to do a bit of a trick here first. I'm just going to cancel out some of these zeros just to make so that I don't have to write them all out, to be honest. Okay, so 200,000 out of 1 million simplifies to 2 out of 10. So I'm actually going to do 2 out of 10 times 100 because that is easier to type in. 2 divided by 10, surprise, surprise, 0.2. And then I'm going to times that by 100. So that would be 20%. So it was a 20% decrease in the company's revenue. Right. Let's have a look at this next one. So this question says, the weight of a person decreased from £180 to £162. What is the percentage decrease in weight? Okay, so 180, take away 162, is a decrease of 18. So that's going to be 18 out of the original amount, which is 180, and then we'll times that by 100. Okay, so 18 divided by 180 equals this, times this by 100, 10% decrease. Okay, the value of a house increased from £200,000 to £250,000. What is the percentage increase in value? Okay, so we've increased by 50,000 and we've increased from 200,000. Okay, and remember I can just cancel out these zeros again just to make that a bit easier. Okay, so that's like 5/20ths, and so we're only going to do 5/20ths times 100 and see what this gives us. So we've got 5 divided by 20 equals this, times 100, 25%. So there's a 25% increase in value. It's pretty nice. Right. Question 9. The number of students in a school decreased from 500 to 400. What is the percentage decrease in the number of students? Okay, so we've decreased from 500 to 400, so that's a decrease of 100, decreasing from the 500, so that would be 100 divided by 500, and then times 100. Okay, let's work this one out. I think it's going to be 20% again, actually. 100 divided by 500 equals 0.2 times 100 gives us 20%. Okay, and last one here. The price of a product increased from £10 to £15. What is the percentage increase in price? So we've increased £5 out of £10, and we've got to times that by 100. So let's do this. So we've got here 5 divided by 10 equals 0.5, times that by 100 equals 50%. Okie dokie, right. Let's go get this marked. Right, so we've got 20%, 10%, 25% agrees, 20% agrees, and 50% agrees. Excellent. Another topic complete. So topic 14 next. Right. Let's get this to the start. Get this up here. Reverse percentage. Ah, okay. The topic's getting a bit harder now. Right. Okay, so just have a drink. So, if a number is decreased by 20% and the result is 80, what was the original number? Right, okay, so it's been decreased by 20%, so we have to do 100%, take away 20% equals 80%, okay? So, 80%, 80% divide 100 equals 0.8, and then so 0.8 times something equals 80. So we do 80 divided by 0.8, and that is this the easiest way to do it? Well, yeah, let's do it this way. Divide by 0.8, and that should equal so that'll be 100. And that was kind of obvious for that. So the original amount was 100. Right, here we go. Question 2. After a 15% increase, a value becomes 345. What was the original value? Okay, so I'll do this the direct proportion method, actually, this one. So 100%, we don't know. After a 15% increase, it becomes 345. So we know that 115% equals 345. If we divide by 115, we get 1%. Okay, so divide that by 115. So we've got 345 divided by 115 equals 3. And then so 100% will be this times 100, which will be 300. Okay, so the original value was 300. Okay, right, let's do this next one here. So 100% equals mystery. It was reduced by 30%. So 100 take 30 equals 70. So we know that 70% equals 70. Okay, well this is obvious. So 1% will equal 1. 100% will equal 100. After a 25% decrease, a quantity becomes 180. So 100 minus 25 equals 75. So we know that 75% equals 180. So if we divide this by 75 to find 1%, so 180 divided by 75, so that equals 1% is 2.4. Times it by 100 to get 100%, times by 100 equals 240. So there we go. And here we go. A value is increased by a 40% and the new value is 420. So we know that 140% is equal to 420. And then if we divide that by 140, we get 1%. Okay, so we do 420 divided by 140, and that equals 3. And then if we times that by 100, we get 100%. So 3 times 100 is 300. So the original value in this question would be 300. Right, let's get this marked. Okay, so here we go. We have got oh dear. Oh, no, we're on the practice questions. That's right, I was looking at these scenario ones thinking, oh, none of them look right. Okay, right, so question 1 is 100. Yep, that agrees. Question 2 was 300. Yep, that agrees. Question 3 was 100. That agrees as well. Question 4 was 240. Yeah, that agrees as well. And question 5 is 300. Perfect. Right, let's have a go at these next ones. Okay, so it decreases by 12%. So that's going to be 88% will equal 440. So we can find 1% and then we can find our 100%. So let's get the calculator out. So we've got 440 divided by 88 equals 5. And then that means that will be 500. So 500 decreased by 12% becomes 440. Okay. A number is increased by 8% and the new number is 2,160. What was the original number? So we have got 108% equals 2160. We need to find 1% and then we can find our 100%. Okay, so 2160 divided by 108 gives us 1%, which is 20, and then times that by 100 gives us the original amount, which was 2,000. Okay. After a 60% increase, a number becomes 480. what was the original number? So 60% increase means we're looking at 160%, and that equals 480. So we want to find 1%, then we can find 100%. Okay, so here we go, 480 divided by 160 gives us our 1%, which is 3. And then if we times that by 100, that gives us 300, which was our original amount before the increase. Okay, right, question 9. If a value is reduced by 75% and the new value is 25, what was the original value? Okay, so if a value is reduced by 75%, right, so that's 100% reduced by 75%, which means we're talking about 25%. So we're told that 25% equals 25. Well, in that case, we can see that 1% is equal to 1, and 100% would be equal to 100. So there we go. That's the answer to that question. Question 10 says, after a 5% decrease, a number becomes 190. What was the original number? Okay, so 5% decrease means we're talking about 95%. So 95% equals 190. 1% will equal something, and then we'll be able to find our 100%. So here we go. So to go from 95% to 1%, we divide by 95. So we've got to do 190 divided by 95. So that is 2. And then we multiply that by 100, which will be 200. Okay, great. Right, let's put this over here. And then we can mark these and see if the mark book is correct, or if I'm correct. So here we go. 500, yeah, that agrees for question 7. For question 5 even. For question 6 even. Question 2000 for question 7. 300 for question 8. 100 for question 9. And 200 for question 10. Wonderful. Right, let's go on to the next topic. It's a reverse percentage, but scenario questions. Okay, right. Right, okay, so here we go. Question 1 says, a shirt is on sale for 20% off, and the sale price is £40. What was the original price? So 20% off means 20% off 100%. So we've got 100%, take away the 20%, and that will give us 80%. Okay, so we know that 80% is worth £40. So then we just need to find our 1%, and then we can find our 100%. Okay, so let's do these. So to go from 80 to 1, this is divide 80, and then times 100. And because this is directly proportional, we just do the same thing to both sides. So we do 40 divided by 80. So that means that 1% is 0.5. And then if we times this by 100, that gives us 50%. No, it gives us £50, not pound. There we go. Right, question 2. After a 15% increase in tuition fees, a student now pays £6,900 per semester. What was the original tuition fee? Okay, so 15% increase means we're looking at 115%. So this equals 6900. We want to find 1%, and then we want to find 100%. Okay, so we can do 6900 divided by 115, and that is 60. And then we can times this by 100, and that would be 6,000, and that's pounds. So the original cost was £6,000. Okay, right. Let's have a look at 3. Number 3 says, a company reduced its workforce by 10% and now has 450 people. How many employees did the company originally have? Okay, so if they've reduced their workforce by 10%, that means we're now talking about them having 90% of what they used to have. So 90% is equal to 450 people. We can then find 1% and then we can find 100%. Okay, so 450 divided by 90 equals 5. So 1% was 5. And then if we times this by 100, that's going to be 500. Okay, great. So there we go. So originally they had 500 people. Right, next question here, question 4. And this one says, after a 30% discount, a laptop is now priced at £700. What was the original price of the laptop? So a 30% discount, so that's 100 take away 30, and that's 70. So we're now looking at 70% of the original price, and that costs £700. We then need to find 1%, and then we can find our 100%. So remember, we just divide by 70 here, and then times 100. And then we do the same thing on this side as well. Right, so we've got here 700 divide 70. Okay, so 1% is 10. And then times that by 100. There we go. So 100% was £1,000. So that was the original cost of the laptop. Right, question 5. So question 5 says, a store increased the price of a product by 25% and it now costs £125. What was the original price? Okay, so increase of 25%. So we're now looking at 125%. 125% equals £125. There we go, 1%. I can do this one here, would equal £1. And 100% would equal £100. Oh. And so that's that. Right, let's get these questions marked. Right, so, right, what topic was this again? 14 practice. Here we go. So, oh no, 14 scenario. Okay. 50, yep, that agrees. 6,000, yep, that agrees. 500, yep, that agrees. 1,000, yep, that agrees. And 100 agrees as well. Perfect. Right, let's keep going. So, topic 14. So here we go. Let me enlarge this again. So this says, after a 12% decrease in sales, a company's revenue is £1,760. What was the original revenue? Okay, so 12% decrease means that's 88% we're talking about here. So 88% equals 1,760. So we want to go to 1% and 100%. So we're going to need to divide by 88 and then times by 100. So we're going to divide by 88 times by 100 and let's see how that goes. So here we go. 1760 divided by 88 is 20. So 1% is £20. And then we can find out 100%. So let's times that by 100. And that will be £2,000. Great, and that's our answer. Question 7. So it says here, a car's value depreciated by 20% and it is now worth £16,000. What was the original value of the car? So 20% decrease means we're looking at 80%. because 100% take away 20 is 80. And then at 80% is 1,600. And then if we divide, well, to be honest, we could probably do this one without a calculator, but just because I'm checking my answers, I'm going to use the calculator just to be really safe. So, so we've got here 1%, and then we're going to go to the 100%. So 16,000 divided by 80 is 200. So 1% was £200, and then times that by 100 to get the 100%, and that's £20,000. Here we go. Right. Question 8. After a 50% increase in production, a factory now produces 750 units a day. What was the original daily production? So 50% increase means they're doing 150% of what they used to, and 150% is equal to 750 units. Okay, so what we can do here is we can divide by 150 to get 1%, and then times by 100 to get the answer from there. So 750 divided by 150 is equal to 5. So 1% would be 5 units, and then times that by 100, and that is 500 units. Okay, right, question 9. Question 9 says, a restaurant reduced the portion size of a dish by 15%, and it now serves 85 grams. What was the original portion size? A restaurant reduced the portion size of a dish by 15%, and it now serves 85 grams. What was the original portion size? Okay, yeah, that's fine. So that means a reduction of 15% means we're looking at 85%. So 85% is 85 grams. Oh, this is nice. So that means that 1% would equal 1 gram, which means 100% would equal 100 grams. Okay, right, question 10. After a 5% discount, a smartphone costs £475. What was the original price of the smartphone? Okay, so what we've got is a 5% discount means we're looking at 95% of the cost. And 95% of the cost equals... What am I doing? Equals £475. So we want 1% and then 100%. Okay, so 475 divided by 95 equals 5. So 1% of the cost is £5, and then 100% of the cost would be £500. Okay, right, let's get these marked. Okay. So what have we got? We've got scenario. How to find out. Something's gone wrong here. I see what's gone wrong. This is confusing. Okay. This here says how to find out the original amount after percentage change. It's got a different title. Right, sorry, 1 second. Let me just edit that. But it must... Oh, no, I have changed it. Because in my thing it says reverse percentage. Okay, yes, I see what's going on. Right, sorry about that. Right, okay, so... it is these ones. That's something that's been edited anyway, so I need to re-export actually because there are some changes that have already been made. So we've got here 14 scenario. That's this one here, 14 scenario. So 2,000 is there. 20,000. Yeah. 500 units. 100 grams. And 500 pounds. Excellent. So the answers all match. Okay, perfect. Let's keep going. So this will be nice actually if we finish it. I might do number 5. I might do 15. And then I think I'm going to pause for the evening. Okay, right. So simplify the fraction 12 over 18. So 12 over 18 is equal to 6 over 9, which is equal to 2 over 3. Okay. 16 over 24 is equal to 8 over 12, equal to 4 over 6, is equal to 2 over 3. 9 over 27 is equal to, well, these both divide by 3, so that becomes 3 over 9. These both divide by 3 again, so this is 1 over 3. Okay, right. 20 over 40 becomes 2 over 4, which is equal to 1 over 2. Okay. And then 8 over 12. Oh, sorry, I forgot to enlarge this. I got all flustered after that last mistake. Right, we've got here 20 over 40 equals 2 over 4 equals 1 over 2. And that's there. Okay, and lastly we've got here 8 over 12, both of these half to become 4 over 6. Both of them half again to become 2 over 3. Okay, so let's get these ones marked. Okay, so I'll do that over here. And that's going to go here. That's going to go here. Let's get out my red pen. So how to simplify fractions practice. Okay, so, I get it, I know what's going on. Right, so, here we've got 2/3, yep. Here we've got 2/3 as well. Here we've got 1/3. Here we've got a half. And here we've got 2/3. Okay, right. Let's have a look at the next round. So here we go. Right, 25 out of 50. Well, I actually just know that this one's a half because 25 is half of 50. This one here, 14 out of 21. They both divide by 7 to become 2 over 3. 36 over 48. Let's go 18 over 24. 9 over 12. Now they both divide by 3. So this will become 3 over 4. I think if I circle them, that's actually nicer for this one. Okay. Next one, we've got simplify the fraction, 7 over 14. So 7 over 14 equals 1 over 2. And then here we've got 30 over 45. Well, they both divide by 5. They both divide by 3. And there we go. Right, let's get those marked. Okay, so here we go. Let's see. Here we go. A half, yep. 2 over 3, yep. 3 over 4, yep. 1 over 2, yep. And 2 over 3. Excellent, right. Last round, okay? Well, not like last. We'll finish after the simplifying fractions scenario questions are all done. Okay, so let's have a look at these. Okay, right, so a box contains 15 chocolates and you want to divide them equally among 25 friends. What fraction of a chocolate will each friend receive? Simplify the fraction. So we've got 15 chocolates and we're dividing them between 25. So each friend is going to get a 15 25th. Okay, we can divide both of these by 5. So this becomes 3 over 5. So each friend will get 3/5 of a chocolate. Okay. Next one. There are 20 apples in a basket and you want to distribute them equally among 30 students. What fraction of an apple will each student receive? Simplify the fraction. So, we've got 20 apples and we're dividing them by 30. So it's 20 over 30. Okay, and these both divide by 10. So that becomes 2/3. Question 3. A bag contains 18 marbles and you want to share them equally among 36 children. What fraction of a marble will each child receive? So it's 18 out of 36. Okay, that's 9 out of 18, which I can see as a half. So each student will get half a marble. Right. Question 4. A recipe requires 10 cups of milk, but you only have 15 cups. What fraction of the recipe can you make with the milk available? Simplify your fraction. A recipe requires 10 cups of milk, but you only have 15 cups. That doesn't really sound right, does it? I think it should be the other way around. A recipe requires 15 cups of milk, but you only have 10 cups. What fraction of the recipe? Let's have a look at the answers. So currently, if it requires 10, but you have 15, you've got 15 tenths, okay? Which is 3 out of 2. But that doesn't make sense with that question, so we're going to need to have a look at that. In fact, let's have a look at that now in the answers. We'll do it with the I feel like I might have edited this before. A recipe requires 10 cups of milk, but you only have 15 cups. What fraction of the recipe? Okay, so that's what the question says. Let's see what the answer says. Sorry about this. Thanks for sticking with me, guys. This is, it can't be fun. Right, so here we go. So question 4 is this one. This one here. So the answer is 2/3. So I think these two numbers are the wrong way round. Right, let's just check once last time. A recipe requires 10 cups of milk, but you only have... Yeah, so those numbers are the wrong way round. So I need to switch those. A recipe requires 15 cups of milk, but you only have 10 cups. What fraction of the recipe can you make with the milk? Okay, right. Done, done, done. Okay. So this is now 15, and this is now 10. Okay, right. Okie dokie. Right. Let's have a look at this last one. Okay, right. So, there are 24 pencils in a box, and you want to distribute them equally among 48 students. What fraction of a pencil will each student receive? Simplify the fraction. Okay, so here we go. We've got 24 pencils, and we want to share them between 48 people. So we've got here, well, I can see that 24 is half of 48, so that is a half. Right, let's get these last ones marked, and then I just want to, I've got one last thing that I need to look at, but, and you can stay with me for it if you want, or you can leave, that's fine. One sec, so here we go. Right, let's get these ones marked, and then I want to address this. I think I've worked out what's going on. I think I've got the wrong title in the answers. Okay, so anyway, right, question 1 is 3/5. Question 2 is 2/3. Question 3 is a half. Question 4 is 2/3, and that's been changed. Question 5 is a half. Right, one second. So this is page 351. I think I've worked out what went wrong with this. Page 351. Page 351. Here we go. Oh no, I've changed it now. Reverse percentage. Yeah. Right, I'd already made that change. Great. So, in that case then, let's get down to the last round of scenario questions for fractions, and then we're done. Right, so, here we go. This says, a group of friends shared 30 cookies among 50 people. Well, a group of friends shared 30 cookies among 50 people. What fraction of a cookie did each person receive? So they received 30 50ths of a cookie, which simplifies to 3/5. Okay, a jar contains 16 blue marbles and a total of 24 marbles. What fraction of the marbles are blue? Simplify the fraction. So that's going to be 16 out of 24, which will be 8/12, which will be 4/6, which will be 2/3. 2/3 of the marbles are blue. Right, question 8. A cake recipe calls for 18 ounces of sugar, but you only have 12 ounces. What fraction of the recipe can you make with the available sugar? So there we go, so that's going to be 12/18 of the cake, which will be 6/9, which will be 2/3 of the cake. Right, question 9. There are 28 books on the shelf, and you want to divide them equally among 56 students. What fraction of a book will each student receive? Simplify the fraction. So they're going to get 28 56ths, and I can see that 28 is a half of 56, so that would be a half. And lastly, question 10, and this says, a group of friends shared 8 bags of chips equally among 12 people. What fraction of a bag of chips did each person receive? Simplify the fraction. So they've got 8 bags and they shared them between 12 people. So that would be 4/6, 2/3. So they all got 2/3 of a bag of chips each. Right, let's mark these. Okay. Right, so here we go. Question 6, 3/5. Question 7, 2/3. Question 8, 2/3. Question 9 is a half. And question 10 is also 2/3. Right, okay, perfect. Well, that is that for the time being. That's up to topic 15 done now. There's 70 of these topics for me to work through. And then once I finish working through them, you'll be able to get the book if you want to get the book. You might be like, oh, I've just seen it all for free. But either way, once this is done, you'll be able to get that book, and that's going to be good. Hopefully that'll be useful anyway. But thank you very much for sticking with me, and I will see you soon. Bye.